Hey ladies, Miranda here. I hope you're well. Quick little video here for you that I wanted to post about this idea of like we're trying to do everything we can, think we're following the rules, doing everything right, and just not seeming to get the result that we're after. So perhaps you think you're eating really healthily and training as hard as you can, and you're just not getting any of the weight loss, or you're trying the best that you can with your emotional eating, but you're not seeming to be able to stop doing it. So a few thoughts about that, well, really just one main one, and it's the fact that often we get frustrated when we're focusing, obsessing about a symptom, but we're taking our eyes off the cause and trying to look for what is the cause. Because things like weight and weight gain or not shifting in weight, or things like eating, often are symptoms of something else, and there's actually a deeper cause going on. And I want to talk to you about that and how we can discover the cause, because that's what shifts everything. So, quick little example of this idea and this problem. I had a pot plant a few years ago, and it was the first time I sort of really was given the thing of looking after a pot plant before. And I remember there was a time where I was watering it. It was in summer. I was watering it every day, really being diligent or vigilant, either word, not digilant. And I remember it was just, it was staying wet, but it started to look like it was dying. It started to look like it was unwell. And I got frustrated over a few days. It was like, I'm watering it all the time. I'm being really vigilant here and diligent, but what's going on? There's something wrong with it still. And as soon as I thought, okay, hang on, let me just be a bit objective here. Let me look at what else could be going on. What could the cause be? Because it obviously seems like it's not water. That seems like I'm doing it, but the symptoms are still there and it's not well. So I need to look at what else it is. So I thought maybe I'm not feeding it enough, and I looked that up, or I started looking around the plant and actually looked underneath, and I'd realized there's actually this big mud clump because it was on top of a garden bed where the hole was, where the water was meant to drain out. And so once I cleared all that, all this water came out. It was really disgusting, but it was probably sitting in it for like a week. And then I propped it up so it would have space so that air would come through and not the mud would clog it up. And so the water could flow. And as soon as I did that, the next few days, it started feeling fine again. It didn't lose any more leaves. It started growing them back, and it was healthy and fine. But the thing is, often with our weight loss journey or our own emotional eating journey and breaking free of that, we get so focused on these symptoms and these things that we can't really as such control, like weight. We can't just say, I want to lose 5 kilos and then bang, it all comes off us instantly. It's often a symptom of some other thing going on. And so I want to tell you a little bit about this story about my journey with that. Because there was a time it felt like I was eating really healthily, training as often as I could, and quite regularly, and I was being consistent for at least a few weeks, at least a month. And I thought, okay, that should shift something on the scales, that should move something, and it didn't. And it's so frustrating when that occurs. And I remember this time I was talking to a coach about it, and they were talking about, we have to actually get really objective when stuff's going on in our lives. Instead of getting judgmental and annoyed at ourselves and really caught up in the whole issue, we need to take a step back and get objective about it. So I remember stopping and just started taking note and being curious and writing down evidence of what was going on. If I was a fly on the wall watching you, Miranda, and knowing your thoughts, emotions, and what you did with your food and your workouts and all that, what's going on? What's the patterns? What's happening? And I really encourage you to do that. If you're getting stuck in this, just imagine fly on the wall, or you're just looking objectively. Someone just would come into your house, or you get me in there or something, and we just start looking at what are the patterns, what is going on. Because when I did that, I realized something for me, and there were many things I realized, but there was one key one that I realized that I worked on, because we need to zone in on one. We can't deal with it all at once. We won't do anything. So I focused in on one thing, and I saw that there was this pattern where after lunch and after dinner, and even a couple times at night, I would just eat little bits of chocolate quite often. And it wasn't like I was having lots, but I was having it quite a lot of the time, like quite often, small bits often. And what I realized is that was starting to become an issue, and I started to become quite dependent on it. And what I discovered was there were actually at moments, often out of habit, or at times where I felt quite upset and quite lonely or a bit emotional. And what I was doing was I was going to chocolate for a little bit of a pick-me-up, and I always got cravings around that time, and I started seeing it was actually like a drug. It was like I had a needle, and I was putting in this chocolate just to instantly make me feel okay. And this bitter time I was having in my life, the challenging time, the pain, the only way I could make it sweet in my head was that. And I realized that when I looked at this objectively, I started seeing that was actually a core part that was really causing problems in my life. And it wasn't just causing problems in maybe the weight and getting in the way there. It actually would make me more upset, more emotional, because I was actually hurting myself. I wasn't helping myself, and I wasn't being there for myself. I wasn't allowing emotion to take place. I was numbing it, dilling it down. It started creating problems in my thoughts about myself and the way I was going to look after myself. Because I'd never do that to my son. I wouldn't, if he was upset or something, I wouldn't just pop chocolate in him and give him cake and say, do you want cake? I'd give him a hug and I'd listen to him and love him. And I wasn't doing the same for me. And so as soon as I started shifting that, and I didn't stop chocolate, I didn't stop comfort, not comfort food, I didn't just stop sweet foods, but I did stop the comfort stuff. I did stop numbing myself with pain. And I only sort of had that actually when I just wanted to enjoy it with friends and things, not by myself to numb out pain, because that wasn't helpful and healthy. As soon as I shifted it started changing things in my thoughts. I started feeling a bit more able to influence myself, more able to looking after myself, more like things are possible. I could actually start creating changes in my life, because I actually didn't desire the chocolate at that time anymore, because I didn't see it in a helpful way. I saw it in a very detrimental, destructive way. I started feeling very different. I didn't feel defeated, deflated, disillusioned. I started feeling excited, energized. I started feeling like I'm actually loving myself and taking care. So that was really empowering. And I naturally just started acting differently. I started eating more healthily, and the weight actually just started shifting and changing. And so that is the thing, is if we look at the causes and we look at what else is actually bringing this problem on, we can get that information and it can create all of these changes. So if you want any more help with this, you want to explore, perhaps, you've been focused on symptoms and really annoyed about the weight or the eating, or something's going on and you can't seem to shift it, contact me, reach out to us and we'll help you understand what maybe is that deeper cause for you. But I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. I'd love you to try and ask those questions of becoming more objective, getting more curious. Don't beat yourself up. Don't get judgmental. Don't get all honed in and annoyed about it. Step back and go, what can I learn right now? What could be causing these things? And really search around. Like I looked around the pot and look around at what different options and different ideas of thoughts and emotions and actions that are causing these results you don't want in your life right now. Hope that helps. Love to hear what you think. Bye, beautiful girls.